there is there's a practice in ancient cultures that it's called to see. And we think that to see things is just to see. You know, so I'm seeing you, I'm seeing here. But it's not really it. That practice is very important to understand how to navigate your life. What do I mean? How do I know how to live life? Let's say, for example, okay, I have the Torah, I have so on and so forth, but sometimes you look at people who learn Torah and also are wasting their life, or they're living life differently. So there's something that we're missing in it. So one would say it really is maybe a lack of responsibility, chas v'shalom, on behalf of God, that He give us instructions. And the answer is no. The answer is no. Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us all the answers to all the questions right in front of our eyes. However, we don't see things, we look at things. What do I mean? You would agree to me that there's a big difference between, let's say, watching a documentary on the Grand Canyon, beautiful camera, beautiful cinematography, beautiful stuff. It's a beautiful documentary, well edited and so on and so forth. However, you don't really get the awesomeness and the magnitude of such a wonder as if you would stand at the, you were there, right? At the edge of the canyon, and you were saying, "Oh my God, this is unbelievable." When we look at something, when we see or watch a TV, we are looking at things. In other words, as it says, right, just putting your eyes in a general direction and just. However, seeing means there is an intent involved in it. When you see things, quote unquote, it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but I'm using expressions. You look at things completely different. That's why we make a lot of mistakes. If, for example, you go on a date, most of us look at the person. Most of us don't see the person. I'll give you an example. You know, I'm very fond of cultures in general, and especially the Eastern, ones, and also some of the Western. But let's use a very famous example of the sakura, the Japanese cherry blossoms. What's so unique about the cherry blossoms? Well, the cherry blossoms in Japan symbolizes the spring. Okay, we have something similar to that as well. We have ברכת האילנות. הרואה אילנות מלבלבים בתקופת ניסן, מברך ברכת האילנות, right? So we have it also, but do we really have that mindset when we make ברכת האילנות or something beyond that? If you know for the Sfaradim that they have a special nusach for ברכת האילנות, I mean before they say the Bechal Hashem Yichud, it talks about Kabbalah and mysticism, like I always wonder what one has to do with the other. Right? What one has to do with the other? What Birkat Ilanot has to do with the Neshamot? Very weird. So let me tell you something. Let's 1 second go to Japan. The Japanese are obsessed with the sakura, with the cherry blossom, because it's beautiful. So there are many other beautiful things. However, that beautiful organism, that it's that flower, is going to be there for maybe 2 weeks. Maybe. That awesome beauty, the sheer beauty of the perfection of the flower of the cherry is going to be there only for 2 weeks. And you know what? Only because it's so temporary, that makes it even more beautiful. You want to soak it all in because that's never going to happen again. That's called seeing. That's not looking. It's called contemplating. Even in words of prophecy, there's a difference between Etzion, v'reiyah, v'chalom, and so on and so forth. There are different types of processing data through your eyes into the brain. The problem is we look at things, we don't see things. And we always say, you need to see things the way they are. I'm looking at it, but I'm not seeing it the way it is because I'm missing something. Now, when you contemplate on your life, do you look at your life or do you see your life? When I look at my life, I say, I'm looking at my life as they're passing by, like a movie. But when I see my life, I actually involved and I'm paying attention and where is my life going? Knowing that my life is very temporary here and there is sheer beauty in my life. However, when I'm just looking at things, I can always turn it off and move on and so on and so forth. And that is a tremendous lesson that one can learn on his life. Because you think that your life is endless. You think that your life is going to last forever and nothing is changing, and you could not be more wrong than that. My daughter told me she's going to a levaya today. Her friend's brother, 28-year-old, just dropped dead. I don't know where. This is mind-boggling. But what do? So we mind-boggled about it for about 5 minutes or so, at most, at best. And we move on with our life like nothing ever happened. We keep on wasting our lives like nothing ever happened. Day in and day out, we're not focusing on what is important. We don't see what is important. We think that that flower will stay here forever. Almost like Beauty and the Beast, you know, the petals fall. Remember that thing? Beauty and, you know, the petals fall of the rose, whatever there was over there. So is the petals of our lives fall until there's nothing left. And then we all crumble to the sea. Like mountains. You ever see avalanche? You know, I've seen it in Israel. You have the seashore. It's made out of sandstone. And then all of a sudden, you see this chunk falls into the ocean. This mammoth cliff just reduced to nothing into the ocean. And the ocean comes in slowly, slowly, and it's gone. So is with our lives. Understanding that your life is temporary, that your life is short, could increase the amount of beauty that you would expose within your life. But when we think that we live forever, there's no reason to change. There's no urgency to do anything. And therefore, call it Yom Tov. Day in and day out, and day in and day out. And before you know, years pass by, decades pass by, and you are in the same place, frozen in time, so-called. And you need to look at this beauty of the great beauty in the little things of your life. Let's say you decide to take a day off with your family. Don't spend it in an amusement park. That's pointless. You might as well go to work. If you want to spend time with your family, if your family time is important, and if your family doesn't know that, so you need to educate them. Let's go to nature. Let's go to a picnic. Let's spend time together. The kids can play with ball. You can sit there with your wife. You could have a little bottle of wine. You can enjoy it. It's a little different. But when you go to an amusement park, you put all the kids like like the rest of the morons on some kind of a Ferris wheel and stuff like that, spinning around yelling, and you think you have a good time. You did not have a good time. You did not. You think you had a good time. You didn't have a good time. You had a miserable time because you had to wait in line. There was no moment of intimacy in this thing. There was no moment of importance in this thing. Your 18-year-old kid is yelling like an idiot, and it's enough. That's not what we do. You want to spend time with your family, you go to the city, you go to a museum, you take the kids to a restaurant, you spend more intimate time because it's gone. When you go to an amusement park, everybody's sitting with everybody else. And you think that life is an amusement park. You think life is an amusement park, and for most of us it is. But don't forget, Ferris wheel, you spin around and around, and you go absolutely nowhere. And we like the thrills of the roller coaster of things, and that's why we go into destructive modes of our life, and then we build and destroy, and we build and destroy, but ultimately the ride ends, and you are left there completely empty, as they say, with your pants down. So you need to understand that those things you need to do. When you go on vacation, you don't need to go on vacation. You do something meaningful, finish one day early, or go, to work, or take a day off, and do something very, very cool with your wife. And will be something cool? Let's walk around, see places. Let's say, for example, I'm going to tell you, Donnie, would you like to go with your wife to, I wouldn't say Paris because it stinks over there. I don't know, London. I don't know, what is there to go? Whatever. Venice. Okay, let's go to Venice. What are you going to do in Venice?
Cafe.
You're going to sit down and have, the guy, right. He's going to sit down and have a little espresso with his wife, espresso, not cafe.
Accordion.
No, the guy comes, like, hey, you throw him a coin, you buy a flower to your wife, and then you say, oh, we had such beautiful time. The smell of the sewer from the canals is coming up, and so on and so forth. Herds of tourists all over the place, and you're like, well, you don't have to go to Venice for that. You don't. It's in your mind that only when you go out you could do so, but that's a mistake. You could do so everywhere, anytime, all the time. So I would suggest to you to stop looking at your life and start seeing your life. Needless to say, you should start contemplating on your life. But start seeing your life. See how it is. Is this good? Is that bad? Evaluate your life. Don't look at this like you're an observer. It has nothing to do with that. It's not a TV. There's a big difference between hiking a mountain and watching somebody else climbing the Everest. There's a big difference. Are you looking at your life? Are you taking the moment also to appreciate that temporary thing? Understanding that, and that's why we hold on to things. We are herders. We like to collect things and we don't let go. You have a nice clothing. Okay, it's a shirt. You wore it already 50 million times. It's done. It doesn't fit anymore. You're about 195 pounds and you wore it when you were 150 pounds. Guess what? You're never going to be 150 pounds again. Get rid of it. Say goodbye. Say thank you. Move on. And that's something that we need to learn. So there's a lot to learn from many other cultures. We have it ourselves also. And if you don't understand that, look at Kohelet. Read Kohelet. Read Kohelet. It's a pretty good book to read. How do you say Kohelet in English, Sam?
Ecclesiastes?
No.
Lamentations?
No.
Ecclesiastics.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastics. Very good. Read Kohelet. Read Kohelet. Read one line at a time. Contemplate on it. And then start seeing your life. When you see people, see them. Don't look at them. See what they were made of. Look at their qualities. Determine your relationship with them based on who they are, not how they appear to be. When you move to a neighborhood, see the neighborhood. Don't look at the neighborhood. Don't be like the people. There's a famous saying in, I think in Okinawa, that in the old days when people used to have fights, before everybody, there's a fight. Before everybody used to run, they used to say it like this, they're fighting with open hands or with closed hands. In other words, they fight with fist or with open hand. If it's with fist, forget it, the amateurs, no need to see. But if they're fighting with open hands, go see it. Why? Because it's something to see, something to learn. So don't waste your life on nonsense, on shenanigans of amateurs. Become a professional living your life. Look at your life and learn that this is not the way you should do. You actually should see your life. See things And you'll be completely different. When you see things, you'll be able to identify people in a completely different manner. You'll see people in completely different manner. They're not the same as if you just look at them. Because when you look at people, people look people. Walk down Fifth Avenue at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a summer day, millions of people there. So you're looking at people, they all look to you the same. They all look like people, but they're not. There's some righteous people, there's some wicked people, there's some nasty people, there's some murderers, there's some generous people, there's some lovers, there's some haters. You see things, you don't look at things. Because if you look at things, life will pass you by. Change your ways. Slow down a little bit. Take an account of your life. Look at how you do things. Examine them. Appreciate the little things in life. And need to remember and to understand that the great beauty lies right here around you. You don't need to go to the other side of the world to see them. It's in the great beauty is in the little things. And start appreciating them. Have a good day.